ChatGPT. I'm going to presume that everybody understands what the word chat means, so I'm going to explain GPT, the process behind ChatGPT here. So GPT is an acronym. We software developers and scientists, we love acronyms, and GPT means Generative Pre-trained Transformer. And it's actually guesswork. You see, what ChatGPT is doing when it is answering you, it's guessing what answer you want to hear. Now, depending upon the amount of characters you write into the prompt, its guess becomes more or less accurate. So if you write hi, you can actually go test this yourself. You go to ChatGPT, you write hi, right? Then at the very least, some 2-3 months ago with GPT 3.5 in its current state, it would just like fabricate random rubbish. And it would say, I want to book an hotel room in Athens for like the spring for 3 days. That would literally be its answer, because that was its best guesswork at that particular point in time of the words you want to hear. So it's basically feeding you what you want to hear, what it believes you want to hear. Now, paradoxically, over time, this becomes statistically likely. This becomes a statistically likely approximation of the truth. Literally. I'm not even joking. You see, if I ask you 100,000 times to explain to me E equals mc squared, and every single time you give me an answer, I give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And then every time you get a thumbs down, you realize that your answer is wrong, so you slightly modify your next guesswork because of that thumbs down. And then I give you a thumbs up, then you realize, oh my God, I was closer to the truth than previously. I need to like emphasize some parts of the stuff I told him now. Then purely statistically, over time, what you are going to become capable of doing is actually 100% accurately explaining to me what E equals mc squared implies. It's kind of like we software developers, we have this joke about monkeys randomly bashing at the keyboard, and if they do it for a long enough period, inevitably at some point in time they end up producing Shakespeare. It's just math, really, and that's what ChatGPT actually does. However, instead of like 1 or 2 or 10 or 100 iterations bashing on the keyboard as a monkey, it does it like 100 trillion times. When it's done it that many times, it's the truth, right? It simply ends up becoming an approximation of the truth, period. And this is why you see so-called AI hallucinations in ChatGPT. If you ask it about something that is outside of its current training material, then it will hallucinate. We call these AI hallucinations, because it will still give you an answer that for the untrained eye might seem to be 100% accurate, but it's not. And we saw this when Google launched their GPT transformer thing, where it claimed that the Hubble telescope had like discovered a planet or something, which it didn't discover or something, I can't remember. But these AI hallucinations are the closest approximation of what it believes that you as a listener expect to hear. So it's basically just a statistical probability equation, and that's it. Now the paradox is that this is actually the way the human brain works too, because the human brain actually isn't, and very few people are actually consciously aware of this, but the human brain isn't created to persist memory. This is why we are lousy witnesses. Now FBI profilers and psychologists and brain scientists have been speaking up about this for 20 years. Still, our court systems believes in humans as witnesses, even though purely scientifically we are proven to be like the worst witness that exists on Earth. Why? Because our brain simply isn't created to persist memories. It's created to predict the future. And it actually makes sense from an evolutionary point of view if you realize that, hey, we're monkeys, we used to live in trees, if there's a lion 100 meters that way, we need to go that way, right? So this capacity for predicting the truth. If I go that way, that lion's gonna eat me. And then that ends up in a reaction that ends up resulting in that I walk that way. So from an evolutionary perspective, this actually makes sense too, once you explained it like that. So ChatGPT is basically based upon tokens. A token is typically everything from 1 to 4 characters if you're in the Latin alphabet, using like English words and phrases. Typically a token consists of 4 characters. If you're writing in Farsi, then 1 token is 1 character. So actually all people who are writing in non-English, like languages and non-Latin alphabets, they purely statistically has a disadvantage when they're using ChatGPT, because they're basically getting 25% of the effect of that a native English speaking person does, or a person who writes English to ChatGPT. So anyway, a token basically is a value, right? An integer value, right? Between 1 and, I don't know, 4 billion or something, whatever, it doesn't matter. And then all of these tokens, when they're lined up, they slightly change the trajectory of the statistical probability of what ChatGPT believes you expect to be hearing from it. So if I, for instance, says, "Hi there, my name," and I click enter, ChatGPT might answer, "is John Doe, dot." But if I tell it, "Hi there, my name is Peter, dot," then it will believe that I expect it to write, "Hi there, Peter, it's nice to meet you." Now, paradoxically, this guesswork process that the GPT process works on top of is actually incredibly smart when it comes to a question-answer scenario, resulting in that you can ask it a question and it can guess what answer you want to hear. And simply due to the amount of iterations it has been doing using backpropagation in order to improve its answers over time, results in that 98% of the time it gives you like a fairly accurate answer. And then of course 2% of the times it's blatantly hallucinating. So anyway, that was it for today's video. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Remember, thumbs up, like, subscribe, all that beautiful stuff. Share with your friends. Have a nice day.